Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning from wherever you are watching. Welcome to Maconi Entertainment as we are getting ready for the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series live from USA International Speedway. My name is Adam Thompson. Joining me in the booth tonight, Ron Mons, and of course, Howie Burrows behind the cameras. Tonight, we go 35 laps in an A feature around this fabled speedway that's no longer in existence. This 3/4 of a mile racetrack, very narrow, tight turns with a banking of 14 degrees, so not a ton of banking, which was used to be based in Lakeland, Florida. A beautiful racetrack. Ron, I'll bring you in here. We got a lot of 410 wing sprint cars out there tonight, 42 total, and only 22 making the show.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a massive field and a pretty darn big night of racing action here at this track that has sadly gone the way of the dodo bird, but is one that I personally love on iRacing. Not only from a driver's side of things, it's one that I've always seemed to get a groove in, both in its dirt configuration that we're running here tonight and the asphalt configuration as well. But it's also the track that I did my first ever bit of lead commentary on in my iRacing broadcasting career way back in the spring of 2023. So this track has always found a very soft spot in my heart. I'm looking forward to tonight's racing. I will say, however, I think we're probably going to have more of a relaxed time here on the broadcast booth than these racers are going to have out there on the racetrack. This is going to be a frantic night for all of the drivers through the alphabet soup, all of the heat races, and most certainly the main show coming up.
Well, we'll start the night off with some qualifying, then the heat races, a max of 6 heat races. We're thinking around 40 with 42 cars, about 4 to 5 different heats. And then we will go into the consolation featured races, which I think, based on the number of cars who have showed up, we'll start off with a C main. Then the top 6 will go to the B main, and then B main is 16 laps, and the top 4 will go to tonight's 35 lap feature. So here we go. We are going to go to qualifying here. 42 cars about to try and conquer USA International Speedway. And this is not the most easiest of tracks to navigate. Yes, it is long and wide, but the hard part is those corners are not very wide. You do have to lift a little bit. We're going to see multi-groove racing as we are with Kenny Hoffman, Yancey Beasley, and you can see the throttle trace there almost hitting 140 miles per hour heading into turn 3. 4 and into the wall he goes, right in the wall like Ross Chastain did at Martinsville just a few years ago. So he is going to reset himself. We'll go to Patrick Spangler. And Spangler now, again, hits that 140 mark going into the corners here. Slides up the racetrack. You can see how much he's working that wheel. Going down the back straightaway into 3 and 4 now. Gets down to the bottom side, trying to keep it down low while keeping the throttle pin. He'll cross the line as Aiden Stoll will be our quick time here with a 18.6. Tyler Schell last week, unfortunate there. A race for him last week at Volusia. He's second quick. Logan Rumsey, who was very fast last week, is now dropping down to 5th as we are waiting for that to appear on our timing tower here. Aiden Stoll, Tyler Schell sits 4th fastest. Kenny Hoffman 5th fastest. There we go. Kendall Tucker goes quick time with a 16.6, and Blake Carrick with a 18.539. He's quick time now. Holy moly. What some fast lap times there, and that's going to bring qualifying to an end. Blake Carrick is going to be your fastest man out there here tonight. Ron, that qualifying session went by quickly here as we get ready for heat race number 1. So Blake Carrick, Tyler Schell on the front row for heat race number 1. Row 2, starting on the inside in the 3rd spot, Connor Dudek and Bradley Cox. Row 3 is going to see Chase Copeland and John Fail. And in row number 4, Doug Cook and Austin Farr. Our final starter here tonight in the 9th spot is going to be Derek Jester, who just joined today in the server. So good to see him already getting involved. So the top 3 cars do advance from the heat into the 35-lap A feature. That's going to be great. 35 laps. They went from the original schedule 30 to 35 just yesterday. So we'll get 5 extra laps in the feature. Everybody lining up here.
Yeah, now Adam, I got to wonder as we head off into the first heat race of the night, and this is a discussion that we can bring up talking about all of the racing action here this evening, but these heat races with only 3 spots up for grabs into the main show. Is this going to be just an old-fashioned bare-knuckle fist fight, or is this going to be more of a bloodbath? What are you feeling?
Well, I think a lot of guys want to get into that top 3 spot. Of course, if you have to race your way through the alphabet soup, it's a little bit more difficult. Of course, if you're in the B main, not that big of a deal. You can still get into the feature, but if you're in that C main, it makes it very, very difficult to do that. So, but I keep an eye on Blake Carrick here. He was absolutely lightning quick in qualifying. Tyler Schell as well. He was very quick last week until an incident took him out of the Volusia race, the 30-lap feature there. He was running in the podium spot, got way too high into the wall, and that ended that. So, all the cars lined up side by side. The pace truck about to turn into the pits here as they are going through turns 1 and 2. Each heat race, 8 laps. And it's going to go by very quickly. 18-second lap times. Not as fast as we saw at Volusia last week. But, you know, this is a 3/4-mile long track, which you don't see anymore. You don't see these longer racetracks really being raced on too much anymore. But here comes the field. Through turns 3 and 4, 8 laps on the board. And we are ready to go racing here at Maconi Entertainment. Green flag will fly and away we go. Blake Carrick, great start off the line. And he is gone. Now the battle for the transfers here. You can see Tyler Schell going up to that top side, holding on to second place. Now the 45 of Bradley Cox. He's trying to rip the lip on that high side here at USA International. You can see everybody jostling side by side. They want to get into that transfer spot, but Connor Dudek right now in that 3rd spot, holding on to it very strongly here. As now everybody going back down to the bottom side. Couple cars go up to the high side. Good run there from the from Bradley Cox here. He's trying to get by Connor Dudek. So here comes Bradley Cox trying to get the right, gets into the wall. And that's going to hurt that run in his chance of getting into the 3rd spot and transferring automatically to tonight's 35-lap A feature. Chase Copeland's on board here as we go through turns 1 and 2. Excuse me, that was 3 and 4 as I now see the grandstand. It's hard to see out of that top wing with a onboard shot, but you can see he's really working the wheel here, trying to keep that car pointed straight forward here as we now have 5 laps to go. Blake Carrick, your race leader, with a 1.2-second lead, and Connor Dudek with a falling back now 1.5 seconds, but he is closing quickly to Tyler Schell, only 0.6 of a second separating the two. You also have Bradley Cox. He's trying to get back on the loud pedal and try and gain time here as he is 2.5 seconds back away from the leader and is only 0.4 away from the transfer spot, Ron.
Yes, as we continue to see the battle developing out there on the racetrack, it looks like the spots that everybody is contending out for are just the final 2 transfer positions right now. Your race leader has checked out. It's been a bit of a stack up farther behind, though. We were thinking that it was going to be a breakaway after that 45 car Bradley Cox had that rodeo ride into the fence, but it looks like he's been able to hold on to it. Getting into crunch time, though, in this race with P2 through to 4th, covered by nothing.
Oh. That was so close there for Bradley Cox. as he's trying to rip that high side. He had a run and tried to squeeze very tightly. And contact between our two transfer cars. And Bradley Cox wrestles his way through and into the transfer spot now. He had to wrestle his way into that spot. Checker flag flies. Bradley Cox is going to be going to tonight's 35 lap A main.
Oh, and stealing it at the right end of the race. That was a thriller of a finish. That was absolutely awesome. What a way to get this night of racing action up and rolling, Adam. We are expecting it to be exciting, and we've already gotten a slight little taster. We're still in the appetizers at the moment, about to get off into the second heat race. But let's take a look at the replay to see that move to get into the main show. This was touch and go right towards the end of the race. Look at that, already a wall tap all through 1 and 2, cuts down to the bottom, though, heading down the back straightaway. There's the touch up in the air. That nearly sent that car upside down, but thankfully for Bradley Cox, he was able to keep it on the racetrack, keep it out of the air entirely, but Cox making his way up into the transfer spot in dramatic fashion.
Well, Bradley Cox kept his foot on the floor here, and that means we go to heat race number 2. And 9 cars in this heat race. And we'll take a look at our lineup. On the front row, it's going to be the 00 of Kendall Tucker, and on his outside, the number 1 of Kenny Hoffman. Row number 2 is going to feature Casey Simmons on the inside and Anthony Villagran. Row 3, it's going to be Yancey Beasley in the number 11 starting 5th, and on his outside, it's going to be Alex Kersetter, who doesn't appear who has gridded up here. JD Brown and Richie Gaines, who were here last week, will make up row number 4, and our final starter, Jace Schaaf, will be our 9th starter here. So that is a look at the heat race number 2 lineup. Ron, I think we got to keep an eye out here for probably Yancey Beasley. He had some, we've seen him before. He's had some pace. JD Brown as well. Some very good pace last week at Volusia. And Alex Kersetter, not going to be taking part in this heat race, so everybody going to be below him, jumping up a spot, which could create a little bit of storylines here. But Kendall Tucker, Kenny Hoffman, Casey Simmons, 1, 2, and 3. It seems like that the bottom side of the racetrack already kind of not the place you want to be early. You want to be up to that top side.
Yeah, just running the loose stuff, trying to rip the dirt up onto the wall. It's worked out well for the racers who have gone up there, but this is a matter, it feels a little bit sad to say this, talking about a racetrack that has since been torn down, but here on the circuit, it's a matter of real estate, trying to find the real estate space out there on the racetrack to do whatever you want and have the freedom to run wherever you want.
Well, here we go. Green flag flies. And away we go. 8 laps around USA International Speedway of heat race number 2 here at the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series, live on Maconi Entertainment. As now Kendall Tucker, great start off the line. And Kenny Hoffman in second, Casey Simmons in third. That's your top 3. Anthony Villagarn trying to get into that transfer spot here. Everybody get a little bit loosey-goosey here. And everybody trying to chase down that 00 of Kendall Tucker. Kenny Hoffman as well. Kenny Hoffman, he's very quick here tonight as, we got one into the wall there. Coming out of turn 4. Ends up keeping it straight. That was the 3 of Jay Schaaf, and the fastest lap now belongs to Kenny Hoffman here at USA International. Here we go, battle for P3. Casey Simmons and Anthony Villagarn. Villagarn right now on the exhaust pipe of Casey Simmons. Goes up to the top side, trying to find a run there. He's going to get there. He's going to drive around the outside. Can't make it happen. Now he's going to look down low. Has to get that momentum back. It does seem like the cushion here at USA International very, very thin here. It's almost right up next to the wall here. Luckily, we do get a track reset for our A feature here tonight. Now, Kendall Tucker, fastest lap time of 19.020. And right now, Anthony Billigarn Billigarn trying to keep a steady line through here. Steady lines means faster lap times. Now he's almost alongside, has to go down bottom. Can't really run the middle of this racetrack. You got to pick it high, but gets it squeezed out by Casey Simmons through 3 and